I'm listening to the what is it? Crikey. I'm listening to some music from The English Patient with Ralph Fiennes. Is it Ralph Fiennes? I think it's Ralph Fiennes. Really good movie. I thought it was fantastic. It also had Willem Dafoe in it. I'm just getting some things up. So just bear with me. So anyway, enjoyable music. Very good soundtrack. And then you can like this music. So I was thinking to myself about feasible element. I just need to be honest, really. I was thinking about how we could come to the solution. The solutions that have been lacking us. Is a human race, possibly is a human race. It's just partakers in the game. This ride that we're all having, we're all a part of. Wow, this music's good. You know, it would be nice to be like possibly in a wine bar in France. Smoking some cigarettes. Hopefully you can still smoke inside. Enjoying some tasteful alcohol. Not overdoing it. And just in good company. A bit of good music. A wine cellar somewhere. Could even be played live. That would be nice. And just people going by, normal, not worrying about the negatives. You can picture that in your mind, can't you? You know, where you'd have a street. There you are. You're in this street. Yeah, I didn't ask for that.
Let the show go on.
See, that puts
YouTube
the,
mix.
Puts the vibration all out, doesn't it? Herodotus. That's what we need. Herodotus. So where was I? I was going on about this street, and in the street, people are going by, and you got a man and a woman going by hand in hand. You know, the way it used to be. Well, it still is, but there's all this worry in the back of people's minds, isn't there? Whereas, ideally, they should be able to walk around with a balanced element of fearing, loathing within their minds. Yet we see all this suffering, and it affects us. Although there is still happy people out there, and it's good to see. It's good to see. So how do we get that? How do we gain that? It's about putting aside our worries, isn't it? Our worries for something. against something or out of battle. See? It's out of battle. It doesn't sound like other music, does it?
Let the show go on with YouTube
For a
Mix.
reason. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, how do we find this balance? But the balance is within us, each individual. You know, as human beings, we're aware of us being awake. We're aware of us. I think, therefore I am. So every human being has that element, or every entity has that capacity. They're aware of themselves. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're not aware. It's like here now in the physical. Here I am, I'm talking to you on camera. But when I go into the jungle, or when even out here, even as I sit, there's a spiritual world that surrounds me as well. In fact, there are infinite worlds that surround me. But let's keep it in basic terminology, the third dimension, and then this spirit level. And so here in Borneo, for instance, the indigenous people, Sabahans, talk to me about the spirits that are here. And that's the spirits not just of people. It's not about just people. It's not. Don't think of spirits as in, that's the only place where human beings go, and then you've got all these spirits hanging around, like poltergeist. But yeah, that's a reality. But think of everything that's here, everything that's alive has a spirit. The plants, the trees, everything's breathing and working in conjunction together. It's an utterly symbiotic relationship. And as a human being, sometimes we have a habit of stepping outside that symbiotic relationship and seeing it and going through the normal day-to-day life and what we've been taught, which is we are separate, and there's a division there, isn't there? See, that's where division comes in. But there's this division that human beings, as flesh and blood in this reality, as it were, we're separate from everything that's around us, but we're not separate at all. We are it. It's amongst us. It builds us. It is us. We're a part of that. And the energy, the vibration, the spirit of an area can be alive and flourishing. And when you tap into that, just taking some breaths in and just tap into that environment, situation, you can become one with all. And so you feel that. And then you just allow it to be. You go with that moment of flow. And it's like, alright, okay. It's about simplifying. It's about all that clutter in the mind. You need to defrag it. Defrag all that clutter and then just balance out. And that's what we need to do, is we need to find that balance, that yin and yang. Yin and yang. The figure of eight, call it a figure of eight. The life. And it's just flowing. beating like a heart. And it's in balance with itself. Balance that we miss. Oh, it's balance. It's balance that's lacking from this reality, and we're all trying to work out. Well, hang on a second. How do we find, or how do we gain balance, regain balance? It doesn't matter whether you're dark forces or light. It doesn't matter. It's just like all it is it's just flow. But a balance can come back to flow if you simplify it. Yeah, how do you simplify something that is and has the capacity to be constantly indefatigable? It's never-ending source, and that source is indescribable in the terms of describing something. It is it. It's here and now. It's what we feel, what we think, how we perceive, how we interact. So how do we control that? It's about control, isn't it? I think it comes back to taking control of oneself. And how does one do that? Well, one could say it takes great difficulty. But if you just take that moment, if you're given a chance to take that moment, just get back in touch. Get back in touch with yourself. Remember who you are, what you represent, your ethics, your people don't want to do harm to each other, yet harm is done to them. And so there's an equal opposite there. But if I can try and keep a balance with every level that's in front of me, that I experience within this third dimension of reality, as I'm looking at you now, you're what I see. And if I can put a good level vibration and pay respect to you, the individual you are, the light being, or whatever you want to call it, if I can, even if you're feeling pissed off and you just generally don't like me because you don't like the look of me or whatever, we'll discuss that. But as long as I can keep a balanced scale, and we won't talk about unnecessary external influence coming in at the moment. If we can keep a vibration of say, a location on par with itself, at equals, then that's a good thing, because there's positive energy coming from that. There's balanced energy. Not necessarily positive, but the negatives are being weighed over by the positives. So it's balanced. That's where we find the balance. And when things are balanced, things seem a lot calmer, and it gives a chance to then utilise this. And what we're doing when we use this is we're taking from the vibrations that are out there. We're tuning in to our vibrations. where we find ourselves. Little dog out there. Doggy. She's coming in. So when we tune into these vibrations, hello mate, so when we tune into these vibrations, those vibrations are put out by external influence. Yeah, and a lot of that external influence, well, it's all controlled, but there's negative wavelengths being put out. I mean, there's the positive, and being in a place of positivity and balance, say, a workable level of equal opposites flow. It's then easier for anything within that area to be able to level itself out as well, because there's mutual support there. Everything needs mutual support. Black needs white, white needs black. Darkness and light can coexist. We know that. We know that here. We experience it all the time. But it's finding that balance, that acceptance. Something accepting something else. Darkness, evil, fear, love, light, peace. They come in polarity against each other. Yet there's always a way in which they can implement. If you just have someone who just purely wants to take out everybody, then you lock them up. They're beyond a certain point. But there are still people out there that can make a collective decision. Or they can make an individual decision. Free will. I'm going to take a life, I'm not going to take a life. I'm going to react this way, I'm not going to react that way. But if we can try and understand the reasons why someone is, we can level out. And so it levels out. We've got an angle up, and we've got the same angle up. We've got a cross, and just like on here, doing the volume, we can perfect it. But that takes cooperation, understanding, respect for another's beliefs, another's worries. It takes empathy. Empathy is something I think that's given over time. For instance, a person to hold the capacity of emotional empathy through to another, and they understand it. That essence of forgiveness, to understand why someone feels a certain way, to fully understand it, and to see it in full circle, full sphere even. It's not just a circle, it's a sphere, and that sphere is constant. So if one has that capacity of knowledge, empathy and understanding to another, they understand why they feel that way, why they want to implement, how that makes them feel. If a person understands that, it gives them a better chance to hold a closer emotional empathy with another. But what do we need to do with that? We need to try and make sure that both sides are comfortable. And So that comes down to compromise, and that also comes down to an element of sacrifice as well. Stepping outside the comfort zone. Sometimes you have to step outside the comfort zone to gain an experience in order to be able to increase that level of knowledge. There's always going to be positive and negative, and we're always going to experience positive and negative. But if one can balance out the positive and negative for the right reasons, for the honourable reasons, and go back to one's ethical parameters, even if one's ethical to evil, evil will still respect that. Someone hits you and you deserved it, and you turn around, yes, I deserve that. That could be your worst enemy. Your enemy is there to teach, that's all. Teach you. Teach you a level of understanding, balance within oneself, and know, okay, if I go that way, if I make that mistake, if I push that energy out, this is what comes back, cause and effect. It's reality, that's balance, that's universal balance. So you put something out, and then it comes back to our intent. How is our intent? Is our intention necessarily good, necessarily evil? Is our intention balanced? Can it bring balance, or is it going to increase the off balance, the polarities, the difference in polarities? Well, if your intention is to put off, put out an imbalance within the natural vibration, then there's going to be a reoccurrence to that. And the old saying is, everybody has to take responsibility for their actions. So if that be the case, everybody and everything has to be, or should be, responsible for your actions. You have to take responsibility, otherwise karma comes back and kicks you in the butt. That's just a fact of life. It's a fundamental factor within life that I think is worth taking note of. What you put out is what you get back. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but soon for the rest of your life. It's a karma. So, right, I'm trying to keep a positive mind. I'm trying to balance out the madness that's around me. Well, that madness is in me. Can I balance it out in my mind? And if I can, does that mean that I can balance it out in the reality? Can I really make a difference in the world? And I can, simply by thought. We all have that capacity. Everybody. No one's inclusive. Everybody has a responsibility for everybody else, because everybody else is them. I'm nothing more but a figment of everybody else's reality. Everybody else's reality is a figment of my reality. And if my reality, if I can find a balance within my reality, then that means I can affect, hopefully, positive change in order to hopefully bring back an air of balance. Anything's possible in the consciousness of what is our minds. We think of something, we can manifest it. As soon as we think of something, something becomes tangible. It's manifested. Call that a universe. Again, I'm sat here and I'm experiencing a universe. And it's a universe in which we can all grasp. We can all become a part of that universe. If we choose to, it's how do we go about it? And right here, right now, we can all affect change. And it's right up to that point where you're sat there and you go, well, I'd like to affect change. I'd like to regain balance. I'd like to find that balance. Not just for myself necessarily, because if I'm just living for myself, I'm not living, everybody else affects me and I affect everybody else. So I have to make sure that in order to be able to bring balance or find balance for myself, I have to regain balance back with my environment, with everyone, everything that's around me. And if I can gain that balance, then hopefully, there's a chance that I might flourish, have a chance to flourish. But one has to be wise, use wisdom of the elders, wisdom of mankind, wisdom of everything man has learned and taught us, everything our experiences have, everything that we can possibly conceive. We can use that. We can take from memory, from our memories, from our understanding. We can take and we can use that as an example, and that can lead us to a balanced thought. That should be done because this minimizes that factor. The chance of risk, casualty is completely minimized due to the fact that I've taken all things into consideration. At least everything conceivable in my own understanding. Thus, I'm taking responsibility for my entire understanding. And hopefully that's honourable. And the key to this is, how do I know I'm doing something right? Because there is little negativity coming back to me, which allows me to then hopefully perfect and take the next choice I make, the next element of my free will I make. Hopefully I can make it in a balanced level. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they talk about going and seeing God in a small shed in the middle of somewhere, and I think it was Zani Wu that he says to God, oh yeah, God sat there, and he's sat there with a cat. And, I think he's had a cigarette, he's lit up. Let's have another cigarette. So God's lit up a cigarette. Oh no, that's right. He's got the cat. Sorry, he's got the cat. Zani Wu